Concerns about those drug-coated stents, and Univision, of course, on the continuing deal saga there. Rite Aid, that's an interesting one. The third largest U.S. drugstore chain.
Good morning and welcome to Morning Call. I'm Melissa Francis in for Mark Haynes.
And I'm Liz Clayman. Thanks for joining us. Are transatlantic carriers acting as a cartel? The U.S. and United Kingdom are teaming up in a joint investigation into airline ticket pricing. British Airways has confirmed it is a target in the probe, while other airlines on both sides of the Atlantic say they've been asked to assist in this inquiry. CNBC's Hampton Pearson is live in Washington with a closer look at this price-fixing investigation that could, Hampton, shake up the airline industry.
Liz, it could, depending on where the investigation leads and what kind.
Huge issue, but really, how big is it? Aside from British Airways, do we have any other concrete evidence of other airlines that are involved here?
It is very early in the probe, and understandably, regulators and investigators on both sides of the Atlantic are being tight-lipped as to how many other airlines beyond British Airways are involved, specifically in this new phase related to possible price fixing related to fuel surcharges.
But for now, though, fuel surcharges will stand on my tickets and your tickets when we go to the airport?
I doubt if there'll be an overnight resending of those fuel.
Live from Washington, we want to take a quick look at all of the companies that we've just mentioned. In fact, some of the airlines, too, that may or may not be involved. We want to stress that. But for now, British Airways, which is a target of the investigation, is taking quite a clip here by 6.5% or $4.34 to $63.45. The other two down just fractionally this morning.
Well, one day after stocks surged on positive earnings news, caution is returning to the markets ahead of next week's Fed meeting on interest rates. Take a look at where the Dow is right now. It is trading lower. It is down almost 30 points to 1149. The Nasdaq also moving lower at this hour. It is down better than 7 points to 2133. And the S&P 500 is also falling in lockstep with the other two. It's down about 3.5 points to 1248. Light sweet crude right now. It is trading higher up 22 cents over $70 a barrel to $70.50. Bob Pisani is walking around on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange checking out today's action. Bob, where's the trepidation coming from?
Well, we are moving a bit to the side here. 9 stocks declining for every 5 advancing, so a little more on the declining side. Look, the real problem here is just the whipsaw action we've been seeing in the last month. And if you haven't noticed the volatility, you're not paying attention. Yesterday, according to Lowry's, was the 12th day since May 10th, the 12th trading day, where we have had huge volatility. That is big price swings and big volume. That's essentially what volatility amounts to. So yesterday was on the upside, but many days it's been on the downside. Now, here's the problem. This creates tremendous confusion on the part of traders, and what we've really got here is suspicion about where we're going, both on the upside and on the downside. The bears are very clear. They've been quite vocal. This whole thing, like yesterday, that happened on very little real news, is a trap for the bulls, and they're going to regret it. That's what the bears have been saying. The bulls are just relieved that we're at least stabilized on some of the major indices. Let's move on. I think it's very important what Inco said today. Now, normally you think Inco's a big nickel producer. Why would this be very important? But you're looking for patterns here in commentary. First, Inco said they're going to have the highest earnings in their history. They pre-announced on the upside, essentially. The earnings they announced are 25% above the analyst estimates. The nickel market, the vice president said, continues to outpace expectations. Now, why is this important? Nickel is a very important component in a lot of different businesses. For example, it's critical in the stainless steel business. They went out of their way to talk about that. They said business is terrific in that particular area. Start connecting the dots. They're saying their business is good. Yesterday, FedEx, which knows a lot about the international business, came out and said their business is terrific. International is doing very well. The day before, Commercial Metals, one of the big general steel makers in the United States, said the global steel industry is doing fine. This is important because the stock market has been acting like there's going to be some kind of global economic slowdown. So far, and it's very early in the earnings announcement season, so far, we have not been hearing these kinds of announcements. This gives a lot of power to the bulls and a lot of rhetorical power to them. Let's move on. Cell phone computer parts maker Jabil down here today. They came in light on earnings, and the guidance was surprisingly weak. I hope we get a little more detail on what goes on here, but they announced job cuts, plant closings in order to boost the earnings. That stock's been weak here all throughout the morning here. And Yum, the old Tricon Global, very interesting. Their same-store sales came out up until June 17th, and it was flat overall, but it depends on where you're looking here. First off, Taco Bell did well. It was up 5%. KFC was up 2%, but Pizza Hut had an unexpected drop of 7%. I think that's why you're seeing the stock to the downside here. Liz, back to you.
Thank you very much, Bob Pisani. As we look at oil, up about 27 cents, and the market's making their move. We're watching treasuries as well. See how they're faring this morning. On your screen, the 2, the 5, and the 10. We do have the 2-year moving higher and the 5 and the 10 going lower, but those yields at 5.2.